All right. Oh, how you doing, guys? Just got off work. I was driving on the way back home, and I thought I should probably do a video, which is a long time coming, to be honest, on West Africa. I want to talk a little bit about what's happening right now in West Africa. For those who don't know, I currently live in West Africa. I've worked in economics most of my life, and I have a relatively decent overview of what's happening in the region, when it comes to looking at the geopolitics and the economics of things. So let's talk about that, yeah? Again, welcome to my channel, Overthinking with Dima, and I feel like it's a good time to overthink right now. Okay, the sun is here now. Okay, it's fine. For the last few years, we've been having coups. In case it's not obvious enough, we've been having coups here and there. There was one in Burkina Faso, there was one in Mali, there was one in Guinea, and then there was one again in Niger, and there was another one in Gabon in late August, the latest one. For those who don't know, those countries, especially Burkina Faso and Mali, have been in genuine instability for the last 10 years. And because of the historical relations, they have called for France for assistance, but it seems like for the last 10 years, the governments and the people have suffered enormously with no end in sight because of terrorism. And because of that, what happens is they've been accused of facilitating all sorts of things in favor of the terrorists, and of course, the French have argued back, saying it's the complete opposite. What are you talking about? But it doesn't matter anymore, especially now. It doesn't matter because they've been kicked out. They've been kicked out from Guinea, they've been kicked out from Mali, they've been kicked out from Burkina Faso, and now they were residing in Niger, where there was another coup, and because the coup is anti-French, they have asked the French to leave. And I think yesterday, the forces in the forces in Niger were asked to leave, and the government has accepted and have announced that they will be leaving by the end of the year. I think it's like 1,500 troops. The French ambassador was also told to leave, and it was, I'm not going to talk about the embarrassing situations, but it was fairly embarrassing. And the truth is, it's not just embarrassing in Niger, it's been embarrassing from the western side. I'll show you a map. But from Guinea, Mali, Burkina, all the way to Niger, it's been just a fiasco for France and French forces. The reason for that is because there is a new generation of Africans who have never seen anything else but poverty and the intervention of foreign forces or foreign involvement in their lives, right? And I don't mean at a national level. It could be at very basic things, like a bridge wants to get built, it's supposed to get built, something doesn't happen after the visit of a particular person. This thing happens, somebody loses a deal, the president uses his influence to be doing all sorts of things, and the African leaders themselves play a role, right? And a bunch of people, West Africans, especially French-speaking West Africans, are just sick of it. It seems that, apparently. They're just tired. Every time French forces get kicked out, people genuinely celebrate now. They literally celebrate. You can't hide this anymore. You could see French media try to hide it, right? Because I remember sharing links on French involvement, and it will be available in my country. It'll be available in the UK for my friends in the UK. But anyone in France, all of my friends in France could not have access to it. It was just blocked. What I'm trying to say is there is a sort of African Spring. Instead of saying Arab Spring, there was an African Spring. And instead of it being just a few months, it's going to last a few years. And it started. We just didn't realize, but we're in the middle of it right now. And this African Spring movement or phenomenon is to topple a system called the FranceAfrique. It is there. People are, I think it's apparent now that there is such a thing as a FranceAfrique. There is. The FranceAfrique is basically a form of hegemony, a disproportionate interest in favor of French interests, whether it's policies, trade, commerce, business deals. It's almost always going to favor French interest. The main countries that form the FranceAfrique are Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire, Cameroon, and Gabon, I would say. There are other countries, there are other satellite countries. But I want to compare the FranceAfrique to a body, right? If I cut the ear, if I cut your ear, if I cut somebody's ear, that person, the consequence of that is that, first of all, there's going to be pain, right? But also, that person is going to be maybe off balance. If I cut an eye, there's some parts of the body that doesn't prevent the full operation of the body, the full function of the system. If I cut an arm or a limb, it's going to be debilitated. There's going to be a handicap, but at the same time, it's not going to prevent the system from working. I would like to say that in late August, one of the main organs of that FranceAfrique system fell, and that's what happened in Gabon, the coup in Gabon. I want to say, if I had to compare Gabon to an organ, it would be either the lung or the heart, meaning it's crucial, completely crucial, right? And that means that the system of the FranceAfrique is now in critical condition, completely critical condition. And it's gotten to the point where it's literally on, intensive care unit, laying on the ground in a coma with barely any health left, right? And France and the French forces leaving is adding even more damage because it's embarrassing. Like I said, they've been embarrassed and shamed from west to east, right? And because it's in our ICU, it's not over. I think that more things are going to happen after Gabon. Because again, we're in this African Spring situation. And Francophone Africa is extremely valuable because if it's somewhat liberated from the system, it will wake up the rest of Africa. It will. Because there is no way with clearly with access to internet and the advent of all sorts of information ITCs, information communication technologies, yeah. Other African economies won't be looking at us the same way. They're going to be like, wait a second, something's happening. We should probably review our policies on X and Y. I think that's what's going to happen. Another important thing, and in order to stop the hemorrhage, I think that's a decent point. In order to stop the hemorrhage, I don't know if you've heard, but some of the countries of ECOWAS, who make up the countries of West Africa, now want to intervene in Niger, which is a little strange. It's a little strange because there has been a number of coups before, but for some reason, nobody cared about those coups. But now, for some reason, the one in Niger is, for some reason, the most important one. And us Africans are tired of coups, constitutional coups or military coups. And then we're just gonna stop this. But how? Why? The truth is, the governments in the region who want to act in this manner are not, don't have the support of the system, of the people. They don't. There is no way they can get this to a vote. Maybe they could, because there is a lot of corruption. But the people do not support this. The people and anyone in the regions. I don't want to send my people to go and kill other people. I'm not American. I don't want to do that. That's number one. Number two, we're too poor for this. We're way too poor. So why all of a sudden this weird bravado about invading other countries? I don't think this makes sense. It's unfortunate, but here we are. But I think the reason why there is a need now to invade is because they understand that it might be a way to stop the hemorrhage. But the hemorrhage will continue because the countries that are involved in this, let's say, military intervention are too poor. Right? How much does it cost to wage a war? A week, right? Even if you're a poor African country, it's probably going to cost you $1 billion a week, at least. I'm being generous. You got to get people. There's logistics. There is maybe a forward base. All sorts of things you got to do. If you don't have the trucks, you don't have the training, the massacre that's going to happen is insane. But that is the cost, elites of this region and that of France, to stop this hemorrhage. It's the cost they're willing to pay. And yeah, and if they don't stop this hemorrhage, now what's going to happen is we're going to have another presidential election soon, right? I think in my country, it's in a year and a half. It's in 2 years. It's in 2025. But it's not that far off, and time flies. Right? Gabon fell, so that was in August. There was a transitional government, doing their things. But I think this is the reason why they want to wage a war. They need to stop the hemorrhage of a dying FranceAfrique. And keep, I guess, people under some sort of leash. How will the FranceAfrique die faster? And this depends on the ability of the transitional governments to provide services, get rid of terrorism, increase security, provide people jobs, maintain some sort of stability, attract foreign investors. All those factors will play along, but for each and every time there was a success within those transitional governments, it's going to represent and be an equivalent bludgeon to the FranceAfrique system. Anyways, I don't want to talk too much. Let me know what you think. Yeah, we are right now in a genuinely historical moment. I mean, look at the speeches that the African leaders of that region are making. It's insane. But sorry, my phone died a little bit, so I'm gonna just finish the conclusion part. But what I'm trying to say is this: if you look at the speeches of all the leaders, you had one of them, I think the one from Burkina Faso, who went to Russia, asking about being left alone. He's just asking about being left alone. He's like, I just want to be able to provide for my people in the same way you're providing for your people. You have the foreign minister, I think, of Togo, talking about what is this thing with waging war? People gathering to wage war on a neighboring country. What is this? This is not our way. I'm from Togo, and my people from Togo are people of peace. We don't do that. We do not do that here. That's exactly what he says. And it seems as if, and I know there's other few leaders who spoke like this, but there are a number of the leaders who have been speaking, yeah? It's almost as if the speeches are all geared and aimed at independence, which is curious, right? I thought we were independent since the 60s. But all the speeches nowadays are speeches for emancipation, for self-determination, for, again, independence. Yeah. I think that's it for the video. Again, I apologize if I don't make enough videos, but I'm a little busy. I took advantage of when today is Wednesday. I don't go to the gym on Wednesday, so it's my day off. So I took advantage to basically make a video on that. But anyways, thanks for listening. If you've been listening until now, cool. What else? Subscribe, comment if you have, share your ideas. Take care of yourself.